Seventh canto, chapter 4, Hiranyakasipu terrorizes the universe. It's text number 5 to 7, and number 5 is on the board. Yeah. Sa Viditya Disha Sarvara Lokam Tvin Mahasura Deva Asura Manusha Indra Gandharva Garuda Uragan Savititya Disha Sarva Savititya Dishat Sarva
Saviditya Disha Sarva
Lokamscha Trin Mahasura
Lokamscha Trin Mahasura
Lokamscha Trin Mahasura
Lokamscha Trin Mahasura
Devasura Manushyendra
Devasura Manushyendra
Devasura Manushyendra
Devasura Manushyendra
Gandharva Garudoragan
Gandharva Garudoragan
Gandharva Garudoragan
Gandharva Garudoragan
Saviditya Disha Sarva
Saviditya Disha Sarva
Lokamscha Trin Mahasura
Lokamscha Trin Mahasura
Devasura Manushyendra
Devasura Manushyendra
Gandharva Garudoragan
Gandharva Garudoragan Saviditya Disha Sarva
Saviditya Disha Sarva
Lokamscha Trin Mahasura
Lokamscha Trin Mahasura
Devasur Manushyendra
Devasura Manushyendra
Gandharva Garudoragan
Gandharva Garudoragan
Saviditya Disha Sarva
Saviditya Disha Sarva
Lokamscha Trin Mahasura
Lokamscha Trin Mahasura
Devasura Manushyendra
Devasura Manushyendra
Gandharva Garudoragan
Gandharva Garudoragan
Saviditya Disha Sarva
Saviditya Disha Sarva
Lokamscha Trin Mahasura
Lokamscha Trin Mahasura
Devasura Manushyendra
Devasura Manushyendra
Gandharva Garudoragan
Gandharva Garudoragan
Saha Hiranyakashipu
Hiranyakashipu
Viditya
Viditya
Conquering
Conquering
Disha
Disha
The directions
The directions
Sarvara
Sarva
All
All
Lokan
Lokam
Planetary systems
Planetary systems
Cha
Cha
and Trin
Trin
Three
Three
Upper, lower and middle
Upper, lower and middle
Mahasura
Mahasura
The great demon
The great demon
Deva
Deva
The demigods
The demigods
Asura
Asura
The demons
The demons
Manusha
Manusha
The human beings
of the human beings
Indra
Indra
The kings
Kings
Gandharva
Gandharva
The Gandharvas
The
Gandharvas
Garuda
Garuda
The Garudas
The Garudas
Uragan
Uragan
Great serpents
Great serpents
So,
The next two verses are Sita Charana Vidyadran Rishin Vitripatin Manum Yaksha Raksha Pisashechan Preta Bhuta Patinapi Sarva Sattva Patin Jitva Vasam Anidya Vishvadit Yahara Lokapalanam Dhanami Sahachetasam Hiranyakashipu became the conqueror of the entire universe. Indeed, that great demon conquered all the planets in the three worlds, upper, middle and lower, including the planets of the human beings, the Gandharvas, the Garudas, the great serpents, the Siddhas, Charanas and Vidyadharas, the great saints, Yamaraj, the Manus, the Yakshas, the Rakshasas, the Pishachas and the masters of the ghosts and Bhutas. He defeated the rulers of all the other planets with their living entities and brought them under his control. Conquering the abodes of all, he seized their power and influence. Purport: the word Garuda in this verse indicates that they are planets of great birds like Garuda. Similarly, the word Uraga indicates that they are planets of enormous serpents. Such a description of the various planets of the universe may challenge modern scientists who think that all planets but this Earth are vacant. These scientists claim to have launched excursions to the moon, where they have found no living entities, but only big craters full of dust and stone, although in fact the moon is so brilliant that it acts like the sun in illuminating the entire universe. Of course, it's not possible to convince modern scientists of the Vedic information about the universe. Nonetheless, we are not very much impressed by the words of scientists who say that all other planets are vacant and that only the Earth is full of living entities. Saviditya disha sarva lokams chatrin mahasura devasura manushyandra gandharva garudoragan sita charana vidyadran rishin pitri patin manun yaksha raksha prishasechan preta bhuta patinapi sarva sattva patin kirtitva vasam aniya vishvajit kyahara lokapalanam stanani sahajedasa. Hiranyakasipu became the conqueror of the entire universe. Indeed, that great demon conquered all the planets in the three worlds, upper, middle and lower, including the planets of the human beings, the Gandharvas, the Garudas, the great serpents, the Siddhas, Charanas and Vidyadharas, the great saints, Yamaras, the Manus, the Yakshasas, the Rakshasas, the Pishachas and their masters, and the masters of the ghosts and Bhutas. He defeated the rulers of all the other planets where there are living entities and brought them under his control. Conquering the abodes of all, he seized their power and influence. Om Madhyamatibranda Shakanandana Shalakya Chaksumiltam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Mukham Karoti Vajanam Pangum Langaiti Glim Yat Kripa Taraham Vande Sri Gurum Dinatarinam. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Gurave Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devam Gaudavani Prachayane Vishesha Sunnivadi Astyataya Chatayane Vancha Kalpatarubhescha
Kripasindhuyaya Vacha
Patitanam Vaishnaviyo Namo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasti Gaura Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Yeah, so quite nice purport. I brought here, of course, a fantastic verse of Bhagavatam. Here we get, it describes how Hiranyakasipu is conquering the whole universe, and we have here some details about the living beings in the whole universe. It's the basic point is that the Prabhupada is actually elaborating at and or hinting at here is that the universe is full of living entities. It is described Krishna in Bhagavad Gita calls the living entities Sarvagata, means they can go everywhere, they exist everywhere. Living entities. Even on the sun planet there are living beings, and on the moon planet there are living beings, and actually the whole universe is filled with living entities. And this, of course, challenges the modern scientists. And Prabhupada was always, whenever he had a chance to challenge the modern scientist, he would take that chance. He wouldn't miss a chance to challenge modern scientists and call them by different derogatory names, which don't think it's fit to mention here.
Why not?
Well, it is.
Camels, asses, and all this. Yeah, that's good.
And because the thing is, the basic point they got wrong, of course, all details, is there living beings on the moon or not? Did they go to the moon? Did they not go to the moon? This is really details. So even if they have gone to what they can call the moon, doesn't affect the basic point Prabhupada was making, that life is not material. There, and when we talk about scientists, actually, it has to be understood that Prabhupada as such is not against science, and he's not against scientists. He's against cheating in the name of science, and he's against someone who are not scientists but calling themselves science. This is basically what he's objecting to. But he himself uses very often the word science in a positive way, he talks about the science of Krishna consciousness. Very often he uses the word like that. The science of devotional service, the science of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the science of God. When Prabhupada came to the West and the Javaduta, he had printed a pamphlet in India. How was that? It was a pamphlet. It was just, I think, one sheet paper, more like a flyer he had printed about himself. It was, so he brought, what was it? Srimad Bhagavatam, India's message of peace, of goodwill and peace, or something like that.
Yeah.
And then it says, and it's propounding the science of God. So there, Prabhupada was using the word science on this flyer that he had already then. And he uses it everywhere in this word. So it's a positive word. Science is something desirable. It means accurate knowledge, precise knowledge, sure knowledge. It has to be, we cannot base our lives and we say our religion on just sentiments or blind faith. No, it has to be based actually on science, on rational thinking, on philosophy. Prabhupada said in the Bhagavad Gita that religion without philosophy is sentiment and sometimes fanaticism, whereas philosophy without religion is dry mental speculation. So, and philosophy and the word science is actually included in the word philosophy. More or less they're synonymous. Philosophy, the word philosophy is a little broader, but basically they mean the same. Like, I think I mentioned that many times, isn't it? So, I don't have to repeat it again. But in the, several centuries ago, in the 1500s, 1600s, 1700s, the word science was not there in Europe. They didn't use that word. It's a later word that was created in the 1800s. And then, so what word did they use instead? They used the word philosophy. The word philosophy meant actually what we mean by science today. So when Prabhupada says that relating without philosophy is sentimentalism, that here actually means also, because we can also say relating without science is simply sentimentalism. It's not faith. Most religions and religious people have been tricked into the idea that religion means faith, you just believing, but you cannot know anything. It's just something. There's no way to prove anything. You just believe, and that's it. But that's not. I mean, that's a very, it's not a fact. I mean, there are very strong scientific reasons for spiritual understanding of life, for the existence of God, for the existence of the soul, for the existence of life after death, and also life before death. There's lots of science documenting that, and a lot of things that they will present in the name of science actually is just belief. It's actually just belief. For instance, what about atoms and electrons? Is that science or is it belief? It's actually belief. Because who has seen them? Someone put up their hand. Anyone saw an electron ever? An atom? Who has seen an atom? Nobody has seen them. So if the idea is that science means only believing what you can see, well then electrons and atoms are not scientific. You can't see them. It's simply too small. So therefore we have a belief that they exist, but it's simply a belief. But it's not just a blind belief. There is an atomic theory, and that kind of assumes the existence of atoms and electrons, etc. And on the basis of that atomic theory, many predictions can be made and many things can be explained, which we can observe. we turn on the light, well, that's based on actually, that's based on atomic theory. We turn on our mobile phones. We have this video camera there. Actually, these have been developed on the basis of atomic theory. So, because these theories make predictions which can be observed, and we can manipulate matter according to these theories. Therefore, we actually believe them. We believe that there is such entities as atoms and electrons, but we don't see them. So that's actually, therefore you can say, both, it's a belief that there are atoms and electrons, but it's irrational. It has definitely a rational foundation. So similarly, that God exists and that the living beings are, that actually we are spirit by nature, is also based on rationality. That, for example, maybe we cannot see God directly, although one can actually develop the eyes to see God directly, and one can engage in the practice of devotional service, and one will get constant experience of God's existence. One will actually experience His presence constantly in many, many amazing ways. And but for argument's sake, no, we cannot see Krishna with our senses directly. It's a fact. Adakshana. Krishna is called Adakshana, meaning he's beyond our sense perception. So, but you can say like a theory based on the assumption that God exists, actually can make so many predictions and explain so many phenomena in this world, just like atomic theory. So we have a theory where God's existence is assumed, and then we can explain so many things about this world, this universe, which actually cannot be explained in any other way. And it's just the complexity of nature, from the big universe. Here we hear something about cosmos or the universe according to the Srimad Bhagavatam. The cosmos is an amazing thing, actually, and cannot be explained simply by, things just happen by chance. Where was it? I stumbled across that. Because I skim science every day, often like that. So I came across, and it was a professor of physics from University of Cape Town, actually, and now an elderly man, George Ellis. He's one of the world's leading cosmologists and like that, and he's a strong believer in God. He's a cosmologist and a believer in God. And again, he had a long article about. Actually, there was one article I couldn't see. They were actually in Scientific American. These two articles, where he criticized the idea. Basically, he said, he was giving many arguments why that the only way to explain the universe, many features of the universe, is that there is a God behind it. And of course, all the all the amazing. I came also yesterday. Someone, it was a Catholic. He's a scientist, PhD in some natural science, and then he's Catholic, and he wrote in some Catholic papers about the brain, actually, and the brain is an amazing thing. That one brain, even your brain, even my brain. Although we sometimes, we sometimes been a little hard on our brains, but our brains are actually amazing. One brain is more complex than all the computers on the entire planet. There are more switches. The brain is composed of, like computers has switches turning on and off current, the current, the electricity, and this is how I don't know much about it, but they have all kinds of switches, and similarly, brains has switches. They're neurons, they're synapses, they call them. It's something like, I don't have the figures here, but it was, and of course they have no idea, in detail all the complexities and that goes on in the brain. But just a number of switches that turn on and off in the brain. One brain, there are more switches than in all the computers that have been built on this planet so far. That's amazing. It's more complex than all the telephone wiring on this planet. You have this planet and you have so many telephone wires and of course also wireless telephones and so on. But actually our brain is more complex than that, complex wiring. So talk about something being astounded. It's it's bizarre to say that this has just come about by chance. I came across that was Abraham Lincoln. It was his birthday 2 days ago. Did you know that?
Is he in Parampara? I don't think so.
He's in Parampara, the alleged president of America. So there was a quote by him. He said it would be more miraculous that nature has come about by chance than God exists. Someone said this is just too fantastic that God exists and it's just a miracle. But the fact that thing came about simply by chance would be a much greater miracle. That doesn't happen. So anyway, so the idea that God exists is not just blind faith. It's based on rational thinking. It explains, it can explain the world, it can explain nature, and the idea that things just happen by chance and so on doesn't explain anything. That's actually really blind belief, because they have no. It's just saying it just happened, but there is no mechanism that can cause things to happen just by chance, or of course chance is not a mechanism, it just happens. But the complexity is so astounding that these things should happen by chance is, one says anything can happen by chance, but then they cannot happen. Everything cannot happen by chance. You could, that we always have this joke with the Big Bang building company, but it's a trivial joke, but it's obviously true that you have a big pile of bricks, and then when you blow them up in the air, and then they come down again, they just settle down, and then there's a building ready to move into. It could happen by chance, but it will never happen. It's beyond probability. But because you cannot say it could not happen. No, it could happen. But it's so unlikely that it will not happen anywhere in the universe, in the entire existence of the universe. So, and that is nothing compared to, again, you say the brain, the complexity of the brain, that is millions and trillions of times more complex than just some ordinary building. So that is not, we're not talking about any blind belief, we're talking about, the only rational explanation for this world here actually. And life, when it comes down to it, that's where materialistic scientists really got it wrong. And it's amazing how can they miss it, how can they overlook it, that the self is actually not material at all. The self is spiritual. It's a most simple point